heart-wrenching news. They're still okay, but not for long. Khomeini is the supreme leader of Iran. He's having the worst crash out of his life, making believe that he won a war that he didn't win. He's still in a bunker, terrified for his life. He might not even be alive. Who knows? Someone else might be tweeting from his account. He has yet to surface. And then there's Candace Owens, who might be going to jail for treason. I don't know. It's not an easy day. It's not an easy day if you're a gigantic dirtbag grifter. But if you're someone who's actually a virtuous man that doesn't go back on your principles, it's a wonderful day for you. In this instance, that's me. Definitely subscribe. I might say things that get you angry. I might say things that you disagree with. But I'll always say things that I mean. And I mean when I say, today's gonna be a banger. Steven Crowder is literally going hog wild, literally exposing the shit out of Candace Owens. Finally, people are waking up and realizing. For a long time, people didn't want to go after the grifters. All of the people that stabbed Trump in the back because Trump is literally owned by Israel, even though he told Israel, fuck you and fuck yourself, and he made Israel stop the war. Even though that happened, they still have to somehow find a way to twist this into literally being a secret Jew controlling of the world situation. Honestly, I had enough of this. All right, listen, as a Jew, it's not fun to have this much spotlight. All right, listen, I never asked to be the main character, okay? Never asked for this, bro. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. So, anyway, a lot of you don't know this, so I felt like exposing this just to put this in the ethos. This is Candace Owens. A lot of people don't know this, but before Candace Owens became an incredibly staunch conservative, a very right-wing individual, someone that worked for the Daily Wire, someone that was, she was very anti the Black Lives Matter thing. Now she has completely grifted to the point that she's anti-Trump in every possible way because she says that Trump is owned and controlled by the evil Jews that are controlling him. A lot of people don't know this, but she's always been a grifter. Once a grifter, always a grifter. One of the 10 commandments is don't lie, okay? Don't bear false witness. And I don't know anyone that bears false witness as much as Candace Owens, because you see, before she ended up becoming a conservative that grifted to the Daily Wire, and now she, of course, decided to grift to the whole Jews control the world philosophies. She says Jews created dinosaurs to trick Christians for some reason, and you don't know this, but she used to be a far left individual. You might not be aware of this, but she used to have a site called socialautopsy.com, where she would dox and expose right-wing people. That's correct. She would encourage doxing and retaliatory harassment against Gamergate people that used to complain that, there were woke video games. A lot of people don't know this, but she was one of the fucking most radical far leftists just right before shifting her politics up and falling all the way to the right a few days later. So I wanted to talk about this because someone that grifts constantly is always just gonna be a gigantic grifter. So I wanted to talk about some of her recent takes in regards to the war, and now Steven Crowder is absolutely obliterating her. So I think it's important to not only document the retards, I think it's important to bring you new information, because I'm the only person that's willing to literally have beef with anybody ever. I don't care if you're on the right, I don't care if you're on the left. I will beef with you. I don't care. So lock in, boys and girls.
What does he think? We're stupid? And the people online that are trying...
So this is her stabbing Trump in the back?
...to pretend that we are the ones betraying Trump for holding him accountable to his promises that he...
What promise? The promise that Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon?
...made to us when we voted for him.
That was his promise, that Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
...encouraged other people to vote for him. You're pretending that we're the ones that are problematic?
Bro, I'm telling you, Trump derangement syndrome is so powerful, even the people with Israel derangement syndrome fall into that shit.
This level of gaslighting that's taking place, you got Laura Loomer out there saying, screenshot every tweet that's against Donald Trump. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You better start capturing Donald Trump's tweets that are going out right now because they seem pretty against Donald Trump's ideas of yesteryear.
So she tries to gaslight people into thinking that Trump is just wildly lying to everybody. What are you talking about? What are you saying? He always said Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, and what do you think that means if they're not willing to make a deal? He said they cannot have a nuclear weapon, and if you can't make a deal, you bomb the shit out of them.
That's all I'm saying. Everything that he said, every bit of BS that he called out, calling out the neocons, the people that were on the face of the Never Trump movement, he's now aligned with all of them.
Really? Is there an endless war in the Middle East right now?
Everyone who hated him and called him Adolf Hitler, he's now locked arm in arm with them.
Is he? Last I checked, he didn't do any of that.
He agrees with Nikki Haley, the Lindsey Grahams. He agrees with...
Really? Lindsey Graham wanted us to go to a war, boots on the ground, and force a regime change. All right, that's what Lindsey Graham wanted. What are you talking about?
every single person that we had to fight on his behalf to
so you were betrayed by Trump for doing exactly what he said?
allow him to hold the office that he is holding. Yeah, he now agrees with all of them. And we're problematic. Now we are presumably the kooks.
You are. You absolutely are the kooks. Complete agreement. Now, I wanted to show you how kooky she actually got. All right, because she has been... The war ended, by the way, a couple of days ago. She is still talking about it. Still talking about how everything was a campaign to literally specifically destroy her.
And it has been insane to see over the last couple of months the attacks that are being thrown at me and Tucker Carlson.
And by the way, she's going to claim that my video is an attack.
And Ian Carol. And
yeah, why would anyone attack any of these people? Why would anyone criticize any of them?
Dave Smith, who's Jewish and just like has...
Dave Smith is not Jewish. You fucking got a token Jew that's not even a Jew. What an absolute piece of garbage. It's like, they're attacking us? They're even attacking Dave Smith and he's literally Jewish. Except he's not. So, okay.
A conscience like everybody else does, and it's like, this isn't okay. People don't want to stand up and say anything because they're not playing around. They will ruin your effing life, okay? I lived this last year.
They're ruining her life. All she is a simple multimillionaire that gaslights people and literally makes up false history to incite anti-Semitic attacks. You're short on info? You'll see.
Israel is doing something wrong. We're coming for your job. We're coming for your finances. We're coming for that tour in Australia. You won't be able to move, Candace.
Except you literally have an incredibly successful career. You've not been banned from any platforms. You haven't been deplatformed anywhere. What the fuck are you talking about?
You can't even go to Australia.
Dave Smith is Jewish, bro. Dave Smith is not Jewish. Now, if you want, I could show you. I could show you proof that he's not Jewish. Not that it's relevant. It doesn't matter if someone's Jewish or not. Like, you could criticize them regardless.
Because we're running it. Right now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way, is catching heat because she just tweeted, Skylar, I think you could pull this up live, but like she just tweeted that Israel killed JFK. And they're like, oh, she's gone insane. No, that didn't happen. He was fighting with Israel's prime minister, and he wanted AIPAC to register under the FARA Act as a foreign agency so we could see what money they're moving into the United States for influence. But it was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. It was just convenient, you guys. Totally convenient. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down. And like everyone who talks about those dancing Israelis are just crazy conspiracy.
Right, because she says that Israel also did 9/11.
Theorists.
This is a brand new crash out, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't stop.
And I want to say this. One of you guys sent me an email last night because I think many of you who sent other emails were so surprised by what you didn't know about World War II. And somebody said, Candace, are you going to speak about the genocide of the Germans, like leading up to that, World War I, World War II? Yeah, I've spoken about that. It's why there's a pretty high bounty on my head.
Yeah, there's no bounty on her head. She makes herself like this ultimate supreme victim. I just Googled it and apparently it said that Dave Smith is Jewish. So maybe my bad. I saw someone say that Dave Smith's grandfather was Jewish, but not his mother. But I don't know if that's true. So again, it's irrelevant. Not trying to push any false information. Do not know. So anyway, this was Candace Owens yesterday on Piers Morgan.
Which is a pretty heavy penalty to pay.
Yeah, I'd want my kids to go to jail before they fought for Israel. I'll say that honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, why would your kids fight for Israel? What are you talking about? You'd rather your kids go to jail than fight for Israel? Now you have to remember, Candace Owens claims Israel controls America. So she says that every single war America ever gets involved in is a war for Israel. So she would rather her kids go to jail than the military, because every war is just controlled by Israel or something. So this is her patting herself on the back that she's so excited that World War III started, even though it didn't start.
Apparently, I'm back in time for World War III, and I hate to say that we told you so by...
Except you were wrong! There is no World War III!
I mean me and Ian Carol.
Oh! Yeah, look at them so excited that World War III started! Woohoo! We were right! World War III didn't start. You're retarded.
I mean, it's incredible. And it's looking like we may be going to war.
Yeah.
Which...
Except you're not.
Either I had a crystal ball, you had a crystal ball.
Or you're both retarded.
Could see into the future, or this has been the most obvious and the most planned war in the history.
And we're not the only ones.
Except it didn't happen.
A lot of people saw it coming. It was clearly the agenda. It's about much bigger things and about destabilizing the region. It's not.
Really, it is. That's interesting because that didn't happen.
About the nukes, and so
it's not about the nukes, he says, which obviously it was because the war's over the moment they bombed the nukes.
The players that are planning things like this.
Who are the players? It's the Jews.
They're not really concerned with what like Trump wants or doesn't want. I think that Trump would be very easily swayed to think all you need to do is show him some intelligence reports, show him like some spooky stuff about Iran's stockpile of like almost nuclear material and be like, look, they almost have a bomb.
So I trust Tucker.
Yeah, except, you know, the United Nations said they almost have a bomb.
Or beyond, like, I mean, more than any person in politics.
That's right, trust Tucker. I would trust people in politics, but I don't trust any of them. I only trust Tucker. Now, Tucker Carlson has zero access to any classified information, but she trusts him. She doesn't trust any of the people that actually do have classified information. Them, she doesn't trust. Only Tucker.
MAGA movement is going to change, okay?
Yeah.
And there's no question about that. Do you have Dave
You're right, because the kooks are being made fun of.
Smith's tweet? Yeah, there's a tweet where he explains, like, he's talking about the Trump dilemma, and I think it's very well written.
Yeah, Trump is on the edge right now. He's ready to burn his entire legacy to the ground.
And what did he do? He took out nuclear facilities everyone in the world approved, and there's no war. So fuck you guys, you're retarded. Anyway, because I think it's very funny how retarded they are, I want to show you a few wild clips that have been kind of popping off lately that, this is really funny, that Steven Crowder didn't actually have in his actual attack. But I think this is really important, bro.
Over the last couple of years leading up to this very planned war with Iran, what happened?
Which isn't a war, so it didn't happen.
First was a very obvious infiltration of a propaganda war where they just started accusing everyone of anti-Semitism, right?
A what?
I was a victim of this.
Well, yeah, you deny that the Holocaust happened. Yes. You deny that the Holocaust happened. So yes, people would call you anti-Semitic. Again, I'm not trying to call anyone anti-Semitic. I personally don't like when people call other people anti-Semitic. I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid when you go and label people racist and all that shit. It's kind of lame. However, as far as people being called anti-Semitic, you deny the Holocaust happened. Okay? You think that Israel controls the country. You think that Jews control everything in the world. Okay? Look, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to go. You think Jews invented dinosaurs to trick Christians. You think Jews invented outer space. All right, I've made past videos on this. You can check out my big Candace Owens video from a couple of months ago. You could definitely look at that from a few months ago. But to actually get the context to all of these things that I'm saying. But this is crazy.
First, of course, shout out to Kanye West, went down first over a tweet.
The tweet said, I want to go DEFCON 3 and kill all the Jews. Okay, that was the tweet. I went down over a tweet. Oh my God. You know, Kanye West is a successful billionaire. All right, obviously the Jews didn't cook him. All right, oh my Lord.
And then very quickly we ended up at Rachel. Miss Rachel is anti-Semitic. And I think what they were doing was they were kind of priming the environment for nobody can question anything a Jewish person says or does.
So this is, again, I love this argument because you realize Candace Owens is one of the most successful political people in the world. She gets millions of views. She has the 9th biggest political podcast on the planet, okay? What do you mean no one could question what you do? You are a fucking massively successful person that just straight up denies the Holocaust, okay? Like, what are we talking about?
Or you know, Israel would cease to exist, whatever it is, because they didn't want us to prod this narrative of us needing to come to Israel's aid yet again.
And they all,
even though this was not a war to come to Israel's aid, this was largely a war to take out Iran's nukes. America also definitely helped Israel with defense, but you're retarded.
Also, they elaborated on that narrative with people like you and me and Tucker and lots of other like pundits, people that are commenting on the news. They elaborate on the narrative, so it's not just that you're anti-Semitic or you hate Jews, but you're actually funded by Arab nations. You're funded by terrorists in Qatar, so that hopefully their constituents wouldn't even listen. Because
yeah, so again, I don't know. I don't think she's funded. I just think she's retarded and a grifter, personally. But anywho, I wanted to show you some other crazy shit. Like that this is the one I just showed you, that they're victims of the propaganda war, which is like, oh my God, you've got to stop. You've got to stop. Now, there's an old clip. I just pulled this one up randomly because I felt like
innocent people.
It was important for context. Like when I said earlier that she doesn't understand why people would even call her anti-Semitic. All right, let's see why some people might call her that.
On innocent people.
She's talking about Nazis that would experiment on Jews.
Candace, come on, that's the difference. They experimented on twins. I mean,
right, this is the Mengele, the Nazi doctor that would experiment on twins by cutting them out of pregnant women and crazy, awful shit.
Some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd.
And she says that all the stories, they just sound insane. They sound crazy.
Like the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together.
Yeah, that they did that. They're fucking deplorable monsters, yeah.
Why would you do that? Literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies.
Such a waste of time and supplies for Nazi doctors to mutilate Jews.
Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Right, so the Holocaust is propaganda, according to her. You have to realize that the Jews are utilizing the Holocaust, which is just propaganda, to fucking manipulate the narrative and make it look like Jews are the victims. How absurd. How absurd. Yeah, do you know that there's still less Jews in the world than there were before the Holocaust? It's crazy that it's crazy. So yeah, so anyway, when people call her anti-Semitic, it doesn't come because she criticizes Israel. Everyone has every right to criticize Israel, obviously. I have some criticisms for Israel too. But this is insane. It is insane to me that, like, she's gonna say and blames this propaganda war and shit, about all of this. Now, she said that there is one person that she does trust. Before we even get into that. This clip, I think, needs to be remembered by everyone.
LG19 writes, serious question, will there be jobs or community military members can join when I get a dishonorable discharge for not contributing to delete people or my body for the interests of a certain foreign nation benefit? I love this question. I do believe that if war in Iran is on the agenda, and that appears so.
It's not. You were wrong.
Get dishonorably discharged. Who cares?
Yeah, so betray your country. Just disobey orders. All right, just disobey orders. Some people would call this treason. And I would not be surprised if Candace ends up getting into actual trouble for these unbelievable fucking hot takes.
Who cares? Why should you go die in a foreign land? You now have the benefit.
First of all, this isn't dishonorable discharge. This is desertion, which is way worse. Someone in my chat just pointed out, and you're completely right. But this is crazy.
Of 2020. You can think about those men and those women who died because they were pitched that they were serving their country because they're
fucking patriots. They're awesome, goated heroes. They are legends that they went and they fought for their country honorably. Fuck you.
Weapons of mass destruction, right? They were serving their country because the Taliban, they were serving their country, whatever, and these people gave up their lives. And ask yourselves, for what? And the answer to that question is for the elites. They're like toy soldiers. And I would have said a few weeks ago that Trump would never do that to you. He would never just throw you into an Israeli war.
And he didn't.
But right now, our planes are flying in the sky and things are going nuclear. So I don't have that confidence anymore. And I'm comfortable.
Nothing went nuclear.
With people being dishonorably discharged.
It's nice that she's comfortable with people deserting the military and ruining their entire lives. Very cool.
Because the dishonor has come from
And you know what? She's one of the biggest American podcasts in the world. She's one of the biggest podcasts on the planet. Her political show is massive. See, this is 4 hours ago and there's 330,000 views. There are soldiers that saw this. There might be soldiers that listen. You are telling thousands of people to literally betray their country.
Our politicians. The dishonor has come from our politicians who routinely lie in our faces and are willing to let us die to serve their financial interests. So why don't they dishonorably discharge themselves from public office?
Yeah, so none of this ended up happening, obviously. Not one repercussion for her. Not yet, but there will be. She's gonna go to jail, probably, if I had to guess. I think that at some point she will. I'm not saying I'm advocating for it, but I do expect it. Now, this is the person that she trusts more than anything. Tucker Carlson, right? She trusts him even more than she trusts the people that actually have access to classified information. Now, this is not going to be a Tucker Carlson video. We're going to look at Steven Crowder dissecting Candace Owens also, because I think this is fucking awesome. Personally, I think it's wonderful that people are actually waking up and talking about this. I'll have you know, I was the first to talk about Candace Owens. She was incredibly well liked just like 2 weeks ago, and now people are realizing that she's kooky. I'll have you know, I was first. I actually put my nuts on the line. You have no idea the amount of death threats I received when I made my first video criticizing Candace Owens. I got so many death threats. People saying I thought you were cool, but now you're betraying Candace. She's so brave. All right, dude. I'm not betraying anybody. I call people out when I think they deserve to be called out. So this is the person she trusts more than anything. This is when he received the news that Iran fired rockets at Qatar, at the U.S. military base in Qatar.
There's some breaking news.
And he first you have to notice, he's handed a note like he's the fucking president, and then he puts his hand on his heart. I have never seen a straight man do this. Okay, listen. When somebody sees even bad news, I have never seen this reaction. I think it's theater.
What now? Well, this is just sad on every level. Explosions have been heard over Doha, Qatar.
Now you have to realize this is Iran warned America before it happened. Iran warned America before this happened. They said, we're just firing 14 missiles. We're doing it to tell our people that we fought back. Evacuate the base. There were no soldiers on the base, okay?
Iran launched a missile attack on the U.S. base there. Western officials told Axios that Iran had fired 6 missiles toward at least one U.S. base in that Gulf country. That base exists to protect Israel, by the way.
It does not! Straight lies! Okay, this is the base in Qatar. This does not exist to protect Israel.
I know
I love how he read the whole paper in less than 3 seconds. Anyway.
we're constantly, Barry Weiss is constantly attacking Qatar. Qatar has done more to defend Israel. But anyway,
Qatar has done nothing to defend Israel. Qatar houses all of the fucking Hamas leaders. All the leaders of Hamas are housed in Qatar. Qatar funds Hamas terrorists. Qatar does not defend Israel. You're wrong and retarded. So, again, you have to realize what went through his head. He got news that Iran fired at an American base in Qatar. Before he even said anything about the soldiers there or anything about anything, his first thing that he needed to say was, it's Israel's fault. Qatar supports Israel. And the base is only there to protect Israel. Dog, this is some Israel derangement syndrome. That's wild.
I'm hosting this base, which they don't need at all. It's the
Yeah, because obviously it's only Israel.
richest country in the world. They don't need to do it. They're doing it to be nice. But anyway, sorry.
Oh yeah, Qatar only has an American base there to be nice.
Right, it's just, this is so distressing.
Have Americans been killed?
Officials said earlier that the base located just outside Doha was facing a credible threat. Trump officials are convening in D.C. The base is home to CENTCOM's HQ. British military personnel also served on rotation. Many planes have been moved out recently. Satellite imagery shows. So that's all.
The satellite.
All we know. It's
Yeah, everyone was fine. Thank God. There were no Americans even there.
so distressing. It's so
Who could have seen this coming? I know.
It should go without saying, but I mean, I'm praying for the success of, whatever America does, because I'm
True.
praying for America. And,
Amen.
But I'm concerned, and I hope that people who have audiences will be responsible and just remember,
Yeah, I agree. People with audiences should be responsible and not fearmonger and do this whole World War III bullshit.
life is short.
Yeah, true. Life is short, man.
You're going to have to give an account. Try to be honest, try to be humane, try to care about other people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. And I have all those messages and I send them back at you, brother.
So that's my view.
So I saw a couple of old clips of Tucker Carlson that I really think are important to show you guys just because they're very funny. This is the wildest. When I saw this clip, I lost my mind. All right. This is the wildest Tucker Carlson clip of all time. Before we get into the Steven Crowder meltdown, you have to see this because Steven Crowder fucking cooked. He cooked.
Nope, in my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled.
All right, so he was attacked and mauled in bed with his wife and 4 dogs. All right, now let me know in the comments section below. What do you think mauled him? Option 1, his wife. Option 2, one of his dogs. Option 3, a bear. Okay, option 4, none of the above. All right, I don't know if I showed you this clip before. So I just want, this is important, all right? Let me know in the comment section. Lock in your answers, subscribe, leave a like while you're answering. All right, what mauled Tucker Carlson in his bed with 4 dogs and his wife?
Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon.
He was physically mauled by a spiritual attack by a demon in his bed with 4 dogs and his wife. Now, I'm not going to say anything. Listen, I think that obviously I think spiritual forces are at work in this world. However, I don't think Man Bear Pig showed up and mauled him, in my opinion. So anyway, that's my opinion. Now, you might think, wow, that's extreme. He's never expressed other kind of wild opinions in regards to demons, probably. Well, here's him on Joe. I just found this today, by the way, while preparing for this video. I found this clip. This is him on Joe Rogan.
Through some real issues. And one of the reasons why he's gone through some issues is because
They're talking about Alex Jones.
that guy is uncovering real shit that's terrifying every fucking day. When you see so many lies and so much propaganda.
Well, and he's also channeling some stuff.
So, how is it that Alex Jones is able to predict things? Well, he is channeling some stuff, of course. What do you think he's channeling?
You can't call 9/11 in detail because you're super informed.
Before the fact.
He called it. How'd that happen?
Right, how did he do that?
No, he's channeling something.
You think
That's
so?
super. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's like no other.
course, obviously.
I mean, tell me how he did it otherwise. I've asked him about it. How did you do that? At length, he had dinner in my barn recently. We were talking about this. How'd you do that? I don't know. It just came to me. And that's real. That is real. The supernatural is real. There are people called prophets. And
Thinks Alex Jones is a prophet. He thinks Alex Jones is a prophet.
there are people who were prophets who weren't called prophets, but there are people who.
To be clear, there even if you want to look at biblical sources, by the way, just biblical sources, there are good prophets, sure, and there are also people that are able to tell the future through demonic powers. So who knows? Who knows if he's channeling something good? All right, listen, I'm just saying, man, I don't know. Maybe he's channeling something else, channeling something from the other side. I don't know. But yeah, so Alex Jones, he's a prophet. Moving on.
Have information or parts of information, bits of information, vision.
Yeah, he's also slandered people and said Sandy Hook was fake. Listen, he's not a prophet, okay? I do not believe he's a prophet, okay? He's not a prophet. Christians believe there's no prophets anymore. Yeah, Jews too. Both Judaism and Christianity, they shook hands on this one. There are no more prophets. Yeah, at least not until Messiah shows up or something.
Visions of information come to them and then they relay it. It's not from them. They received it.
You know, this idea of like platforming people.
Yeah, so this is him saying that Alex Jones is a prophet. That's obviously how he's able to make predictions. The frogs are in fact gay. But this was Alex Jones yesterday. Okay, I wanted to show you this clip because this is a clip from Alex Jones yesterday talking about the origins to the Star of David. You know, the Star of David, it's on the Israeli flag. It actually is a mistranslation. The actual Hebrew of Star of David is the Shield of David, because the way the story goes is that there's a 6-pointed star on King David's shield. That is literally the entire backstory to the Star of David. This is what Alex Jones had to say.
They're covering up Star of Rimfim. No, it's the Seal of Solomon.
He was watching Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, and he decided that, yes, it is in fact the Seal of Solomon. It's not the Star of David, okay? It's not David, it's Solomon, all right?
And it's even worse than all the idiots out there say it is. They just never get it right. It's the seal of Satan that seals the demons in. Now, it's a similar to it. Tex Mara's really smart. He says it may have been the Star of Rimfim. It doesn't matter. It's in the Bible.
It's not in the Bible. The Star of David is nowhere in the Bible.
And in the other ancient texts, that it's the
ancient text. It might be in the ancient text, but it's not in the Bible.
Seal he came up with to seal the jinn.
Solomon came up with the Star of David as the seal to seal in the jinn.
That he was using to control things.
Yeah, this is just the plot of Magi.
And black magic. And it's Jewish mysticism.
Right, it's Jewish. The Star of David is in fact the seal of Solomon, and it's Jewish mysticism to seal demons in objects.
So yes, the Star of David is not the Star of David. It is the seal of Solomon that seals Satan.
Yeah, so again, this was yesterday. I don't know, a lot of people are really comfortable going out there with like saying that Jews are controlling the world and stuff. I don't know what happened, bro. Like, what is going on? So I, of course, responded, I don't hate Jews, I'm just asking questions, which I think is a very valid response. But I wanted to leave this with you guys. I wanted to leave this with you guys. So we've already established that the Star of David is clearly the seal of Solomon used to seal Satan and seal Satan and release demons. Right? We've already confirmed this, and we know that that's obviously what Israel intended when they decided to use the Star of David for the flag. Right? Now, I'm about to tell you some secret information. So I was looking at the ancient texts. When I came up with this. This over here is the flag of America. Okay? Now, if you look very closely, and I want you to listen. Okay? If you're doing anything else, pay attention for a second. As you can see here, there are 50 stars, and each one of them is a pentagram. Now, as we know, the pentagram is very often likened to Lucifer. So it is possible that the Jewish cabal that are controlling Satan, apparently, according to Alex Jones, perhaps they tricked America into putting 50 pentagrams on the American flag. But that's just a theory, a game theory. Anyway, a lot of people are realizing that these guys are kind of retarded. A lot of people realize that they're retarded, and so I wanted to look at Steven Crowder's video, because Steven Crowder went live on Rumble yesterday to over 100,000 live viewers, okay? 100,000 live viewers watching him cook. And he cooked. I didn't watch this video yet, but everyone told me I needed to look at it, because I literally started the entire gravy train calling out the retards, but apparently Steven Crowder has joined the Nux Alliance, baby. So lock in, boys and girls. This is going to be insane. I'm glad that people are recognizing that these people are retarded and actually calling them out for it. So this is where we take our victory lap.
Feel or know that they have been fooled and had the wool pulled over their eyes. That is a universal language. And so I get that it might be a tough pill to swallow if you feel that way. If you're a viewer, if you're someone right now who's been watching, who's been listening, and you bought this, I get it. But in real time right now, you can do something about it.
Yes, sir.
And you can decide to not allow it again.
I am so ready, baby.
You can choose to demand better. In this instance, we knew that people would make some pretty crazy takes.
Well, and to be honest, you called it. Like, we did.
The claim is that this is going to be World War III. The truth? Probably not. What I'm saying is right now, we have no reason to think that's the case.
I just don't think that we are serving us well by constantly telling.
I'm so happy that there are normal people out there. You know that? You know that? I am so happy there are normal people. God, it's so frustrating watching the retards actually running the show. Oh my God.
Them breaking. This is World War III.
Right. So the air superiority is so lopsided right now in Israel's favor.
True.
That if no one else gets involved, okay, pack it in. It's pretty much done.
True.
Yeah. Is it disingenuous of Donald Trump, or is it disingenuous of someone to say, you know, I was on the MAGA train, but he's turned on us because now he says Iran's a threat? Well, hold on a second. That sounds to me like it's your fault that you didn't know where he stood, and it's your fault for misinforming your audience.
Sir. Yes,
if
sir.
You ever even so much as
yes,
imply
sir.
that Donald Trump held any position other than Iran can't get a nuke.
Yes, literally. It's so nice. Oh my God, you don't understand. I was fighting this battle alone. I was fighting it alone. Oh my God. Literally. I'm so happy. People are finally recognizing this shit. I don't like Steven Crowder because he yelled at his wife. I don't care about that right now. That is not the point. Chill, dog. Oh my God.
I think that's your fault.
Obviously, don't yell at your wife. It's not a nice thing to do, okay? Obviously.
That's important because that's the point where Donald Trump goes, they probably should negotiate. When it seems pretty clear that they've gone from 200 missiles launched to 35 in the span of a day. You know, someone is more likely to negotiate if they're in a weakened state.
World War III.
True. And you know who was in a weakened state? Iran. They got fucked. They got obliterated.
I don't even think this is going to end up in a full armed conflict between these two nations.
This is one of those things.
I literally, the craziest thing is, I literally predicted this the entire time. I literally predicted this completely. I was completely right. And the retards that were running the show, Trump betrayed us, the Jews control the world, and finally people are recognizing it. Oh my God. And honestly, I think Candace Owens might go to jail. I know that this is it's an early prediction because I don't think it's going to be for a while. Asmongold's fighting the same fight. Asmongold's another one. He's fucking goated. He is goated. He's just not completely captured by a rampaging ideology. He sits it and says it the way he sees it, and I have so much respect for him for it. I really do, even though I disagree with him on a lot of things. But god damn!
The friendly fire occurring within the conservative community is bizarre right now.
Yes, sir.
This is not one of the issues that would have resulted in that. This is not a declaration of war against the world. This is.
He's not. It's an ideological war because the reality is, and this is the way I see it. Okay, there's going to be 10% of people on the left that are complete retards, and there's going to be 10% of people on the right that are going to be complete retards because there's retards everywhere. Now, the 10% of people on the left that are complete retards, they want to cut the testicles off of your children. Okay, that's left retards. All right, well, enough of that. All right, fuck those guys. All right, we don't want to talk about that. All right, we don't want to talk about that. On the right, though, on the other hand, on the right, the right-wing retards, the 10%, are the, white people are the master race and everyone should be subservient to us. Because those exist, even though they're definitely a minority. I don't think it's 10%. I'm just using those numbers as an example. It's probably 1%. But realistically, it doesn't even matter. You're gonna have those fucking retards as well. The people that say that, Jews control the world and obviously all that needs to happen. So, obviously.
Not sending
Libertarians are not right-wing. I'm not talking about libertarians.
American troops to die for Israel.
That's it. I'm talking about those people. The people saying that, oh my God, Trump is literally sending American troops to die for Israel. Abandon the military.
None of that has happened.
True.
And it is amazing the efficiency with which this was carried out. Anyone who said false flag to get us into war, that's someone who I would question going forward if the United States doesn't get involved and it's not a
Completely true. Completely true. They're all saying false flag, false flag. Israel is manipulating America to put boots on the ground and take over Iran. All those people were fucking retards.
A global conflict.
I just want to... the reason why I'm making this video is because I really think it's important to call out the retards. And it doesn't matter who the retards are. One thing that you have when you subscribe to me is the promise that I will call out the retards whenever there are retards. Okay?
Because it does require that. In other words, for that statement to be made, this is a false flag. For someone to say that Israel set up a false flag, that would require people to be in cahoots, which would mean that it is a 100% inevitability that the United States, boom, got their excuse and is getting into a global conflict. If it doesn't happen, start questioning the people who say false flag.
True. All right, let's go.
Right past the flag. We're going to win the game.
So, to recap, said this is probably done in a week or two. And I don't think
I said that too.
We'll have a full-scale conflict between these nations, and definitely don't think it's World War III. We were accused of being shills and liars, and I'm going to...
Me too, by the way. God, the amount of vitriol in my comment section for just saying what I believe, and I was just completely right. Oh my God, dude. I was just so vindicated with everything.
Go through specific people.
Dude, you have no idea how much hate, by the way. You have no idea how much hate I got over the last 2 weeks. Like literally. I got hate on the left saying that they wish I died and stuff like that, and may I die because I think that people should get deported. And then you get people on the right that are saying, oh my God, you're literally dude, there were videos made claiming I was a Mossad asset trying to manipulate people to die for the Jews. I am not even joking. This is a real thing. Okay? Dog, this is a real thing. All right, this dude, Tactical Templar, made a video saying Nuxtaku exposed as Israeli citizen and IDF Mossad asset. He didn't mean it, obviously. He was making fun of thousands of tweets saying that this is a thing that existed. All right, this was a great video. He made a good video on it. But he made this video literally shitting on people saying that I was a Mossad asset. Pay no attention to Hasidic Hasan in the background. Obviously, that is not relevant. But the point, that is how insane this is, dog. If I was Mossad, they would fire me ASAP, bro.
Specific instances right now as to the information that many of you were presented and you believed. And by the way, listen, if you believe this, it's not, yeah, you need to take some responsibility, but it's not your fault. It really isn't. If you are trusting people to serve you with accurate information,
listen, I don't blame the masses, okay? Obviously, some of the masses are going to be evil, but I don't blame the masses, okay? I blame the manipulators and the propagandists, because most people don't go into a video expecting to be lied to. I think most people are genuinely trusting people. I'm not. I'm a cynical asshole because I've been betrayed so many times in my life. But, but I think most people just, they go in and they watch a video and they expect to be treated in good faith. They don't expect to just purely be just lied to. Like, here's an example of a really good lie that just happened. This is a tweet that went super viral. All right, this is a tweet that went super viral. You won't find a single picture of JFK kissing the wall. All right, the wall is the Western Wall. Obviously, this is the holiest site in Judaism. It's also, or whatever, the surrounding wall of the holiest site in Judaism. It's also considered basically one of the holiest sites in Christianity as well. That's where the temple was built. Now, this is a 2,000-year-old wall. So these people went, the different presidents, and showed respect when they visited Israel. They visited the wall too. Now, you won't find a single picture of JFK kissing the wall. The implication here is that the Jews assassinated JFK. See, this has 6 million views and 107,000 likes. The implication here is that the Jews assassinated JFK because JFK refused to swear fealty and kiss the wall. Now, the reason why this is obviously bullshit is because the Jews did not have access to Jerusalem. They did not have access to Jerusalem in 1963. JFK was assassinated in 1963. Jordan had control of Jerusalem until 1967. Jews did not have access to Jerusalem until 1967. JFK couldn't kiss the fucking wall if, there was no access to the wall. Obviously that didn't happen. This is like obviously retarded. So this is the craziest thing. Now, Red Pill USA, you think this is like a good American citizen, pure blood, all right, American flags. This is a run by a guy named Abdul who lives in Pakistan. He was recently exposed for. And this guy got 6 million views and 100,000 likes, LARPing as an American with an obvious, non-info tweet. And I don't blame people for believing that, because who the fuck is going to do the math and check that he was killed in 1963 and Israel only had access to the wall in 1967? No one's going to do that. No one's going to actually do that research. So I don't blame people that believe things. I blame the liars and propagandists.
And they're consistently warping it. It's not all your fault, I should say. And in addressing this, what do I expect in return? I expect it to get personal. I expect character assassinations. I expect hit pieces. Whatever. I'm going to address the information that's been presented. False flag, PSYOP, for the Jews, for Israel.
These are the buzzwords. I'm so happy when I see people saying this, that when they're not Jewish. It makes me so... Obviously, I notice it more than most people because I am Jewish, so I get an unbelievable amount of hate. But this is crazy.
Use them interchangeably. Let's go through a few examples. Because right now we find ourselves at a point where war has been averted, ceasefire, and Donald Trump is in our camp. Just to be clear, too, I can't think of a president more in my camp. What Donald Trump is saying is, you shouldn't have a nuke. I've been clear about that.
He's right.
You have a right to exist, but Jews, you are annoying me.
True.
And that's where I am.
True.
Don't test me.
Oh,
it's a good thing. God. I'm glad he's in that camp. Let's go through the examples. Candace Owens.
True.
Said over and over again that President Trump would send you to die for Israel, for the Jews.
That's what he said. That's
what
Reading
she said. Her actual ex-posts.
And then she told her fucking audience to abandon and desert the military.
Get ready, white American men. It's time for you to...
Thank you, black lady, for talking to the white American men.
Go die for Israel again.
But again is funny because America's never gone to wars for Israel.
If you don't want to die for Israel, then you are an anti-Semite. Sign up to die in Iran for Netanyahu today, or just admit you hate Jews. Here's another one. They tried to redefine
This one's crazy.
Anti-Semitism, criminalized criticism of Israel on college campuses.
Not true.
Not true. Most crucially, seed the idea that the declaration of Christ as our king amounted to hatred against Jews.
Wildly inaccurate.
Also not accurate.
He's using the same words as I am.
All of this was done in preparation for the Greater Israel agenda.
This is a crazy, insane, unhinged, wild conspiracy theory. Greater Israel. This is not a thing that anyone in Israel ever heard of. This is only something that retards in America talk about. Only retards in America know about this. No one in Israel ever heard of Greater Israel. You have to understand, Greater Israel is a conspiracy theory that Israel is trying to take over the entire Middle East. That's the Greater Israel theory. That all these wars are secretly a strategy for Israel to take over the entire Middle East. Let me show you a picture of Greater Israel. It's an actual conspiracy theory, right? So this is the conspiracy theory that Israel is trying to grow the borders to here. That's retarded because that's obviously not happening at all. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Regarding which they attempted to emotionally manipulate Americans to accept. The conspiracy theorists were right again.
Right about what? Right about what? You were wrong about everything.
It was always about a planned war with Iran.
There was no war.
And a doomed, heretical belief that mass slaughter of women and children is messianic.
This is unbelievable bullshit. She is saying that Jews, okay, because this was, I deal with this shit so I could read between the lines. She's saying that Jews have a secret satanic messianic belief that we need to sacrifice millions of Christians to bring the Antichrist. That's what she is saying. None of this is true at all.
Let me read that again. It was always about a planned war.
There was no war.
Where's the planned war?
It's all part of the plan.
And she states it like it's fact.
Yeah. This wasn't presented as an opinion.
True. That's the grossest part.
This was presented to you as fact. And I had many people go, this is clearly a planned war for Israel. That's clearly what Donald Trump is doing. He's trying to get us.
Do you have any idea how many comments I get like that? So many. Again, I just showed you people have made videos about retards calling me a Mossad asset for, let me remind you, predicting everything correctly.
Is that what you're seeing? If it's not what you're seeing, this was dishonest.
True.
Here's another one.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Our foreign policy is dictated by Israel.
Yeah, well, it didn't look like that when Trump said, fuck you guys, you don't know what you're doing.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah! Dude's on the ball!
That seems like it's dictated by Israel.
Yeah, it's obviously not dictated by Israel because Israel wanted to retaliate when Iran broke the ceasefire. Trump said no, and they stopped.
That's part of the plan.
Yeah.
Deception.
Trump will continue to do as he is told by Netanyahu. Don't drop the bombs.
Right? Remember when Trump said that?
Okay, we won't. That sounds to me like one person's in charge. And here's the thing. That's a good thing. Shouldn't we be happy about this, guys?
No, they're not. They just wanted proof. Here's the thing. This is the problem with grifters, okay? And this is important to note. This is everyone. This isn't just a problem like on the weird right-wing people, all right? This is much more important. Grifters want the worst possible outcome so that they can make money grifting about it. As an example, Hasan Piker, far leftist, he wants people to die in Gaza. He is a genocide profiteer. He wants people to die in Gaza so he can monetize their deaths. He doesn't give a shit about the Palestinians, or he wouldn't support Hamas, because they started the war and they're killing their own people. But he supports them anyway. Obviously, he doesn't care about the Palestinians. He doesn't care about people in Gaza, obviously. And that is the case everywhere. And the people that claim that they believe in something and they want to take down the Jews, what they really want isn't proof that they were wrong and the Jews don't control the world. What they really want is what Candace wanted was World War III, so she could say, I told you so. I was right. The Jews are controlling the world. That's what she wanted. If you are a Candace Owens fan, you are a fan of someone that actively wanted people to die for Israel, so she could say, I told you so.
Shouldn't we be happy that Donald Trump at a certain point had enough and said jump, and they said how high? Both sides. Trump will continue to do as he is told by Netanyahu. If you want to know what America will do, spare yourself the fake White House press briefings and start listening to Bibi. We are a colony of Israel.
By the way, let me just say this right here. Thank you so much, Israel, for being fucking awesome and taking out all of Iran's air defense systems and wiping out all of Iran's top guys as a complete surprise so that not a single American soldier was hurt when Americans came in and bombed the fuck out of the nuclear facilities. Thank you so much, Israel, for doing the dirty work of the world, getting your hands dirty, and preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons.
or politicians are bought and paid for. Taking separate components, there are politicians bought and paid for by AIPAC, by the way. I can't stand AIPAC for the same reason that I hate Act Blue. They support.
I agree, by the way. I don't think there should be any foreign money going into funding politicians.
Or Hakeem Jeffries. But combining that and saying that we are a colony of Israel, and spare yourself the fake White House press briefings. Also implications that everything here, everyone who disagrees, was fake. If it seems like I'm being harsh, it's because you were told that the people telling you the truth were fake, and the algorithm amplifies it.
That's it,
and
baby.
It made your life worse, and it embarrassed you. You get it? By the way,
God, I love watching him crash out. I've been saying this for months. The death threats. Oh, God, I hope this becomes a popular narrative. You don't understand how amazing this is. He had 100,000 live viewers when he gave this speech.
The worst part is, you don't even get to celebrate the win.
Because they didn't want to win. They wanted people to die so they could say, I told you so. That's how vindictive they are.
No war.
Yeah, I'm going a step further than this guy. We'll see. He'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get there. He'll get there. See, I have noticed something. I say what I believe, even when it's controversial, and it takes a couple of months. But everyone will get there. Asmongold got there with Hasan. Everyone will get there. They'll get there. It'll take, give them a couple of 60 days. I give them 60 days. On day 61, they will be agreeing with me.
Good. Done. No nukes in Iran. Great.
That's great,
America
right?
is a colony of Israel. Spare yourself all the other fake information and know that you're going to go die for Israel, which ultimately led to an entire coalition demanding the impeachment of the man you voted for.
True.
Candace Owens legitimately told service members.
Yes, yes! Rip tear!
That they should seek a dishonorable discharge, which, by the way, wouldn't be a dishonorable discharge. If you look at the way she described it, it would be desertion over a war that wasn't happening.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
LG19 writes, serious question, will there be jobs or members join when I get a dishonorable discharge for not contributing to delete people or my body for the interests of a certain foreign nation benefit? I love this question. I do believe that if war in Iran is on the agenda, and that appears so, get dishonorably discharged. Who cares? Who cares? Why should you go die in a foreign land? You now have the benefit.
This is treason, I think. I really think this is treason. I think she can actually go to prison for this. She's propagandizing to the military to disobey the country that you live in. This is crazy.
Of 2020. You can see, think about those men and those women who died because they were pitched that they were serving their country because there were weapons of mass destruction, right? They were serving their country because the Taliban, they were serving their country, and these people gave up their lives.
I can't believe the Jews would make her say this.
And ask yourselves for what?
Yeah, desert for a war that's not even happening. And here's the thing. Yeah,
people listen.
Yeah, I get it. X isn't real life. But it turns into real life if people believe it.
True.
And some soldiers, I guarantee you, believed it. Some soldiers still fell for it. True. Some are still falling for it. Like Private, who is...
Yeah, this is sedition. This really is sedition. It's crazy.
Still AWOL and doesn't know the war is over. Anti-Semitic Jim. This guy got the short end. He doesn't hate
Poor guy.
Jews.
Poor guy. Oh, man. That's rough, buddy.
Look,
in an attic.
People make mistakes.
I don't think... This is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. If you look at the history, if you look at my video, my original content nuke on Candace Owens, you'll see it's not a mistake. Okay, listen, you have to realize Candace Owens said that Stalin was Jewish and that the entire, Bolshevik revolution was a Jewish war to kill Christians, okay? She thinks that the entire the mass killings in Russia under Stalin was a Jewish war because Stalin was a Jew. Stalin was not a Jew. Stalin was not Jewish. He killed tons of Jews. He killed tons of Jews, man. What do you, it's fucking insane. Stalin hated Jews. Yeah, obviously he hated Jews. He killed thousands of them. Oh my God.
It's all a mistake, just say it.
Yes, communism was invented by Jews, and Marxism was invented by Jews, and capitalism was invented by Jews. Oh my God, everything's Jews, it's all the Jews. Where did she get that from? I don't know. She even Nick Fuentes, who's, by the way, Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi, okay? He calls himself one, or I didn't call him that, he calls himself a neo-Nazi. He said Candace Owens is retarded, because obviously Stalin wasn't Jewish.
Serve your audience, serve the country, Candace. Tucker Carlson.
A lot of the Bolsheviks were Jewish. That is true. But it's not a Jewish war. Obviously, you have bad Jews, just like you have good Jews. But this isn't some sort of evil Jewish plot to control the world and kill everyone.
He said that President Trump was complicit in an act of war with Israel. He said, politicians purporting to be America first can't now credibly turn around and say they've had nothing to do with it. He also predicted, and told you this, and many of you believe this, that a strike on Iran's nuclear facilities would all but guarantee leading us to the death of thousands of Americans. He said, it's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly...
This is the guy, by the way, you might recognize Tucker Carlson. He was recently mauled by a demon.
...certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout, and he was clever enough to use the word almost, throughout the Middle East and cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may be even higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you.
You're the propagandists! You are the propagandists!
Don't let the propagandists lie to you.
He says while lying to you.
You know, like us.
True!
Like the president who said, we're not...
Oh, it's not easy. I mean, to be honest, bro was mauled by a demon. You can't possibly treat him that badly.
Going into war, we are going to make sure that they don't have nuclear capabilities. We have no interest in regime change. We've always had an interest in ensuring that a crazy, unstable, anti-American, anti-freedom country who has said they will use nukes, we've always said they can't procure nukes. But don't believe the propagandists who told you that and gave you the references and encouraged you to read them. Dave Smith, by the way, again, it's tough because some of these people I think present some arguments that are useful sometimes.
Yeah, Dave Smith definitely made himself look like a clown.
Tweeted this about the war. According to Netanyahu and other sources, Trump had full prior knowledge of Israel's attack and gave it his blessing while pretending to be negotiating with the Iranians as cover. So this is presenting, again, fact, not opinion.
True.
Netanyahu and other sources.
True.
Here are some facts for you, which leads me to this conclusion. If this is true, Trump is the most impotent bitch of a leader imaginable. He's allowing one side of a war who clearly wants to drag us in to lie about our involvement while not correcting the record.
Yeah, none of this was true.
Either way, Trump has betrayed MAGA and every principle of America first. He is no longer worthy of any of our support.
Holy shit, he's telling people to stop supporting the president.
He probably never was. So sources, Netanyahu and Trump, we knew about it. We were involved in this. Weave it all together, and this was all an excuse for us to go to a perpetual war with Iran.
Which didn't happen.
He also said with the utmost certainty...
True. Didn't happen. God, I'm so glad people are waking up and noticing that there's so many retards everywhere.
And it almost sounds like at a certain point you just don't want the United States to ever have any good days.
True.
That we did not have, quote, escalation dominance against Iran. And again, Trump should be impeached.
Yeah, remember, this is the clip. Yep, he wanted to impeach Trump.
It was in 2007 that the Pentagon told George W. Bush that we cannot go to war with Iran because we do not have escalation dominance against them.
Oh my God, what a pussy.
That they can hit all of our bases and embassies in the region.
What a pussy.
And we are very vulnerable to them.
We are so, look how vulnerable we are. Look how vulnerable we are, guys. We're so cooked. Oh, yeah. Oh.
He's sitting there talking about coming back to the negotiating table. It's like sitting after Pearl Harbor and telling FDR, now's the time to go negotiate with the Japanese.
How the fuck could you possibly compare anything that happened to Pearl Harbor? You actual retard.
Negotiations are over now. The time for negotiations was before this.
Well, it turns out he was able to negotiate after that. Wow.
And so...
maybe you're not some sort of geopolitical expert.
Yeah, Donald Trump looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation.
Get ready for the next statement.
At the time, it seemed like the right one, but he should be impeached and removed for this.
He should be impeached for, let me remind you, doing exactly what he promised. Literally. He said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. He said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's it. That's it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Trump literally followed the one of the major things he was consistent on. And he's wrong.
This one.
Just say you made some mistakes, Dave.
But nope, he doubles and triples and quadruples down.
2007.
Actual nitwit.
In reference?
Yeah.
What was going on in 2007? Battle of Fallujah. We were still very involved in Iraq.
Right.
Still very involved in Afghanistan. Both sides of Iran. Completely different landscape.
Yep.
Completely different operations going on there. That is a crazy reference to make about what's going on now in 2025.
Because he has no idea what he's talking about. He has no clue.
Oh, no, didn't you know? We're secretly already involved. It's about World War III and war with Iran.
I did forget
sending
that.
American bodies to die for Israel, right?
Of course.
I did forget that.
Just say you made some mistakes, Dave. Serve your audience. Serve the country.
Nope.
Never hear from me on this again. People make mistakes. Ian Carol.
Oh, here we go. Next retard drop.
Candace as well.
God, dude, you don't understand. Oh, God, I literally feel so justified. Oh, my God.
It's out there. Again, anyone who said false flag or PSYOP, the only way that works is if there's World War III. Accountability matters.
He's right.
This, quote, stopping Iran from getting a nuke narrative is propaganda cooked up by Israel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ian Carol knows how close they are to a nuclear weapon in Iran. He is the only one that knows the truth. He has no classified information, but he knows. He knows.
The nation that stole its nuclear weapons tech hasn't signed the treaties and doesn't allow inspections. Well, it didn't sign the treaties, doesn't allow inspections. That part is true. Put in a little bit of truth, and then you believe the rest. Propaganda cooked up by Israel.
Yep.
Leading into the war in Iraq, there wasn't enough support for the war, so they created the anthrax hoax with anthrax that was eventually traced to a CIA lab in order to manufacture more consent. Watch for a false flag to do the same for Iran now. So
now, you know what false flag means in their language. I feel like I have to translate this because I'm the only guy, by the way, I feel like, that makes this content and actually tackles all the conspiracy theories. Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you what false flag means. False flag means 9/11 is going to happen. There's going to be another 9/11. Now, he claims that the first 9/11 was done by Jews to manipulate America to going to war for Israel. Okay? That is how fucking insane this is. All right? He says that Israel did 9/11 to trick people to go into war. Wait for a false flag means wait for another 9/11 to happen, and it'll look like it's Iran that does it, but it's secretly going to be Israel that does it. That is what his claim is. It's the most grotesque shit of all time.
Iran's nuclear program, the idea that they have one, the idea that they were enriching uranium, was a psyop to lead to a...
Even though all the United Nations agreed, the IAEA agreed, they had 60% enriched uranium. But nope, it's all a psyop to die for Israel.
False flag to draw the United States into another war. And of course, if you continue down the timeline, World War III, something, World War III.
For Israel.
None of it works if we're not in another war. None of it works if we are not today sending Americans to die and shed their blood. And by the way, it won't work if we find ourselves in a war unrelated to this 2 or 3 months from now. Just to
they will connect it. No, you don't understand how bad Candace Owens actually got, though. Steven Crowder, I think, doesn't understand the depths yet. He definitely notices that they're all retarded, and I'm really glad that he does. But unfortunately, I feel like I've done more research on this topic. So, Crowder, when you watch this video, I got you, bro. I got you. You misunderstand. You think you could say that if there's another war that happens later, it'll make a difference? You absolute buffoon. According to Candace Owens, all wars are the same war. All of them. Because you know what Candace Owens says the Ukraine war is all about? You know what she says the Ukraine war is? You're probably thinking, wow, there's no way she ties the Ukraine war to this. Wait, did she delete the tweet? Oh, never mind, she didn't found it. Romanian TikTokers are alleging that Israelis are showing up to escape the war. Not true. You don't understand. You do not understand how chill Israel has been about this entire war. By the way, there was a conspiracy floating around a long time ago that there was a plan to settle Israelis in Ukraine, and the two wars were connected, given that modern-day Ukraine is where the majority of modern-day Israelis came from. Not true. Keep your eyes open. Email me if you have information. According to Candace Owens, the reason why there's a war with Iran right now and a war between Russia and Ukraine is to get Israelis to settle in Ukraine. This is retarded. This is retarded, man. It's actually retarded.
Be clear. So don't do another 2007 reference.
So no, she is gonna, whatever happens, any war that happens in the future, she will say it was all part of this plan.
We know how this played out now. We know what the intent was. We know there wasn't a false flag because a false flag would necessitate the reaction for the false flag. False flag for what? Perpetual war. Yeah? False flag to go to World War III. But where is it? It's like some people just wake up and look for ways to lie.
Yes, sir. You know who one of those people is? It's the GOAT himself. It's Ian Carol. You have to realize this is a clip that came out like 3 months ago.
So the Bobby Kennedy blackmail story is currently breaking.
It's not breaking. There was no story.
In many directions, all across the internet.
It's not breaking. There is no blackmail story.
And American politics is not going to be the same after this weekend.
It was the same.
A few moments later.
Let's clear up all the misconceptions about the RFK Jr. blackmail. And
there is no story.
The most awkward part is that everyone has different theories about who is controlled within Bobby's camp.
No one is controlled. At least there's no evidence that anyone's controlled.
Who is controlling him?
No one's controlled. Who the fuck is controlled? Why do you think someone's controlling him? It's the Jews. All right, it's the Jews.
Who is an op and who is not. And it's all just allegations without smoking guns at this point.
Right. Remember how 2 days before this, he said, Yup, it's all breaking. America won't be the same. And a few days later, it's all smoking guns, just allegations.
Starting to throw mud and allegations at specific individuals around Bobby without any evidence of it, or at least without a smoking gun, is super complicated.
It is complicated.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
True.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
100%.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
This is how I feel every time I hear this guy speak. I'm not even gonna lie. This is how I feel every time I hear him speak.
One of those may be
All
true.
right.
Yeah, you take a guess, bro.
Dancing Israelis. By the way,
what I call it.
You can download the Rumble app if you want to support a free speech platform and go where we're not beholden to the algorithm. Gonna give you Martyr Made. Here's the post. The mid-negotiation.
Oh, dude, why do we even take this guy seriously? I see this guy shit posting all the time. Oh my God.
Goalpost shift to, quote, no enrichment when it's not necessary to prevent Iran from getting nukes.
It's not necessary to prevent them from getting nukes.
And everyone has always known it is a non-starter was a poison pill that could only have been meant to sabotage negotiations and provide an excuse for war. Where's the war?
No war. Thank God. I'm glad
Guys,
that people are noticing. I'm glad people are calling out the grifters.
It matters because
it's all the war.
Well, there are many reasons it matters.
The massive plan.
You were being told by these people that the other folks were liars. PSYOP, false flag, blood for Israel, guaranteed war, Netanyahu, inside sources. No danger of Iran getting nukes.
Now, you have to remember, like, Martyr Made is a guy who's known for yelling and screaming about how about Gaza, Palestine, Gaza, Israel controlling the universe. Everyone's getting controlled by all that, right? All that shit. But you realize this is Martyr Made. I couldn't care less who runs New York, right? This guy cares so much about who is doing what in the Middle East, but doesn't give a shit about what's happening in your own country. All right.
You were told not to believe anyone else. You understand why now I'm saying, hey, now look at the evidence. They told you not to believe anyone else. I'm now telling you, please use your judgment and discernment going forward. And I encourage you if you use discernment, to read and to check out the people I'm referencing today. Please do.
I agree.
And contrast it with the truth, the information you have available to you at that time. Stu Peters responded after President Trump attacked Iran. The Jews are grubbing their hands and...
Okay, this guy's just a retard. No one should ever take him seriously. By the way, inside fact on this guy, he apparently allegedly ran a gigantic crypto scam on all of his friends.
Salivating at the thought of American blood. And Zion Don is happy to give it to them.
Yes, sir.
Zion Don is...
See, but the thing is, you can't take somebody seriously that makes tweets like this. This is a Stu Peters tweet. Iran is not the enemy. Israel is the enemy. What the fuck are you talking about? We made the mistake of fighting on the wrong side in World War II, meaning against Hitler. Let's not make the same mistake for World War III. Dude, like, listen, it's so obvious. Like, why would you even remotely take someone like this seriously? Like, literally, this is something to never, ever take seriously, literally, ever. Oh, my Lord. God damn. Like, dog, what do you mean you made the fight on the wrong side of World War II? You're a retard.
Happy to give it to them. Don't send the planes. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Sound like Zion Don?
He's called Jews vampires?
Dude, he said you fought on the wrong side of World War II. This is not someone to ever take seriously.
Yes.
Dude, I feel like I have the receipts on all these motherfuckers. Honestly, it's crazy.
Salivating for blood?
I guess it could be, right? That might be the implication. Matter of fact, Donald Trump has been more harsh on Israel than Barack Obama in dealing with them directly.
Oh, shit.
He just doesn't want people to die. He's been remarkably consistent.
Yep.
Iran can't have nukes.
Insanely consistent.
He opposed the war in Iraq. He opposes foreign intervention if it means that there will be needless death.
Oh, God, this is the victory.
A president who doesn't want people to die.
No shit.
And don't we want that president, who historically will be known as the anti-death president, to also be the president who showed a display of American military might we haven't seen in decades?
America!
That resulted in no net deaths?
True. Insane, by the way.
It was like an exhibition match.
Dude, I don't know how this happened. I came onto the fucking political scene and became a trailblazer. That's all I have to say.
Only he also took out the champion. Like, I don't know how you do that. And so this is something, and I think we're not broadcasting on YouTube anymore. This is something that I just ask you guys moving forward. You know, you often say this with COVID, and then after the fact, people going like, I wish we could have held them to account. Right now, at this moment in time, this morning, at 11:42, Tuesday, June 24th.
This is the new COVID. This is the new COVID hoax. He's completely right. I didn't look at it that way, but he's so right. It's the new COVID. It really is. It's the new, if you don't get the vaccine, you are killing your grandfather. It is the new one. This is the new, there are no side effects to the vaccine.
You can do it. Remember how Donald Trump can't control Russia, Ukraine, right? Where people said, he made a promise that he would, sure, and that was an empty promise. But the wheels were in motion, and tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions, depending on the sources you cite, were already being spent and pledged, right? So he couldn't really stop it. He couldn't unilaterally do that. Same thing with Israel and Gaza. That happened before he came in. Iran and Israel, where he had the ability to control it.
He did.
We know his intent. We know his actions. We now know where his heart was.
True. Correct.
When he was in the driver's seat, you saw who Donald Trump is as president.
He's correct. He's completely
I think it's a
right.
good thing.
I agree. Yep.
It's the same thing right now. You can't go back and change COVID. You can't control legacy media. You can't control ABC, NBC, CNN, CBS, MSNBC, CNBC. You can't.
Yep. The beauty of being not mainstream in the media is the fact that you could say whatever you want to say, and you don't have these political overlords pulling your strings and making you say what you want. What they intend you to say, right? You're not a propaganda machine necessarily. Now, the issue with not being part of a mainstream media is that you could just lie. You could just constantly lie, like what Candace Owens and Ian Carol and, Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson did about this war. Again, I don't hate any of them on a personal level. However, important to note, yes, you could lie, even as an individual. It's not just fake news that lies. There's fake, not mainstream news too. And that's why you gotta look at the track record and think for yourself and use your judgment. And this is a really telling moment. This is an actual, I think, historical moment in the way media and news is presented. That yes, we know fake news is a liar. We know they lied constantly. That I think has been established for years now. But now we're seeing how individuals are propagandists too. Again, I'm not saying they're foreign funded or any of that shit. I don't care. But fucker Carlson was wrong about everything. Except for being mauled by a demon. I agree with that part.
But just like Donald Trump, with this happening under his watch, you can help police your own right now. You can demand better in real time. And I know that sometimes it's tough if you've been, there's one thing, the Hutu tribesmen, the African plains, there are tribes out there where cannibalism is okay. There's one thing that's universal. Nobody, across all languages, races, genders, however many there are today, no one likes to feel or know that they have been fooled and had the wool pulled over their eyes.
Yes, sir. And a lot of people were. And the crazy thing is, I got so many comments in the beginning of this war saying that, I'm paid by Israel. I'm obviously manipulated. I'm a paid asset. I'm controlled by Mossad and shit like that. I got so many of those. Those comments are gone. Because I think a lot of people actually did wake up and realize, I think this is a turning point in society.
That is a universal language. And so I get that it might be a tough pill to swallow if you feel that way. If you're a viewer, if you're someone right now who's been watching, who's been listening, and you bought this, I get it. But in real time right now, you can do something about it.
Yep.
And you can decide to not allow this to happen again. You can choose to demand better. And those, the purveyors of, let's call them mistakes.
They're not mistakes. They're not mistakes! Stop, they're not mistakes. They're literally not mistakes. They are propaganda. There's a difference between propaganda and mistakes. Now, I think some of them made mistakes, but I think some of them were definitively purposeful propaganda.
It looks like misinformation. Let's call them mistakes. You can do better. You can just admit that you were wrong, do right by your audience, do right by the country. And you know what? If we want there to be some healing, because we all have felt it, this tension, let's let there be some healing over something great. Hey, we all voted for a guy who did exactly what he said he would. We all voted for a guy who was going to seal up the border, most secure border of our lifetime. Yep. We all voted for a guy who was going to put America first and not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of. Look at what's been happening with the tariffs. Look at what's been happening with unemployment and inflation. We all voted for a guy who didn't want to engage in new foreign wars, but we all knew for at least 20 years, said Iran cannot get a nuke. And he said that for the same reason that we don't find ourselves in World War III. We have a president who we all voted for who is consistently, unilaterally,
God damn, he's cooking!
Needless death.
Oh, Lord.
Impeach him? You do find yourselves at a conclusion, right?
And then they say impeach him. True.
If you've been at this one point, Zion Don, PSYOP, controlled by Israel, of course impeach him. If I believe that, I would want him to be impeached.
Crazy, dude.
Or you find yourselves at the truth. You have an imperfect man.
Because none of that happened,
who's done what he said he would do as president. And you don't offer anyone your blind loyalty. If they make a mistake, you call them on it. But you don't make them up. He did what he said he was going to. So impeach him. Or, you know what?
Dude, I love how people are noticing! Oh, this really is the victory lap. Oh, God, it's so fucking awesome. At this point, I feel like we're driving in circles. I made my point. I made my point. My point was well taken. Other people are noticing as well. I'm fucking awesome. I know. I didn't say it. They said it. I didn't say it. They said it. Trump has been consistent. I've been consistent. And to be honest, I was brave enough to call these guys out before they were exposed as complete liars. I said that this is gonna be a lie, and I was right. It was all a lie. Because obviously, when you see where it comes from, you know the truth. And that's why you subscribe to me, a blue retard on the internet. Am I always gonna be right? Obviously not. But I will always be honest. That is something I will always do, because I actually, unlike some other people, other propagandists, I actually try my best, and that's all I have to say. See you in the next one, gamers, and remember to invest in the Nux stocks when they're down, baby, because you want to buy in the dip. All right, when I'm getting canceled, that's when you invest. Subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.